The date is the 28th of December 2024, and this is a resident inspection of the communal areas of 85 Mount Pleasant, London, WC1X0AG. It's an 11-floor block that contains 33 separate flats, and all the communal areas are maintained by Camden Council. Okay, let's have a look. There's the building. And the first thing we see is the Mount Pleasant Street sign has been amended to Nount to Pleasant. So let's see how accurate that is. So the first bit of painting we see, first bit of peeled painting we see is on the outside of the building. And as we go along, we can see they seem to be playing catch up with the graffiti on the wall. Quite a bit of that. Higher up, the condition still not great. You can see that this area hasn't been painted for quite some time, and there's a fair amount of peeling paint there. This area directly in front of the building has been painted recently. In fact, it was painted earlier this year in late July and early August. In the entrance to the building, likewise, we'll see that these areas have been painted, also done in late July, early August. And going into the building, we also see this reception area with the lifts was also recently painted. The paint was scraped, the loose paint was scraped, and the whole area was painted over. So that's giving quite a nice look. We go out the back into the communal store cupboards, which are used by residents, and that's not such a great picture. You can see there's a lot of flaking paint on the doors. They're in very bad condition, all of them. Flaking paint on the ceiling. Another look at the doors. You can see these haven't been painted for many, many years. Okay, so let's go back through the entrance, and I'll take you into the stairwell area. First impressions are good. You can see this area has been freshly painted. It was also done in late July, early August, at the same time as the other work. The railings, on the other hand, are in very poor state. They obviously haven't been painted for years. The paint is very worn on those. Continue up to the first floor. You can see the walls and ceilings have been recently painted. July, early August time. We're faced with the first floor, and this wall has been painted. This is when things change, however. You can see the wall opposite hasn't been painted, and that ceiling is the last area of the stairwell that you will see painted. As we progress up, you'll see that the banisters haven't been painted, and they haven't been painted all the way up. This is an 11-storey block, You can see the first floor understair area in contrast to lower down, painted, flaky and unpainted. It's quite obvious that this hasn't been painted. You can see it's a different colour to the ground floor. But strangely enough, this wall has been painted. Ceiling not been painted for many years, walls not been painted for many years. But strangely enough, this wall has been painted. So we'll continue on up the staircase. You'll see that none of the walls have been painted apart from the wall facing this way. The paint is a lighter colour, so this is very noticeable. You'll see the contrast. The condition of the walls that haven't been painted doesn't look too bad in certain areas. But as you go up the building, you'll notice that it's quite flaky. Seventh floor, the same wall, painted in contrast to the rest of the walls. Eighth floor, I've still got that one wall painted, but not the others. And then, strangely, we get to the 9th floor, and we see that wall hasn't been painted. So the painting job was abandoned on the 8th floor, at least for that wall, and none of the others was started. As you can see, you get further up the building and the condition gets worse. There's a lot more cracked and peeling paint up here. Some areas quite bad. And the ceiling is in quite bad condition. Cracked and peeling. Okay, going through onto the landings now. You can see that none of this has been painted for a long time. It's in the same shade as most of the stairwell. But curiously enough, at the same time, that single wall up to the 8th floor in the stairwell was painted. This paint mark was left on the wall, and I'll show you how that's repeated down the building. Again, paint mark with the same paint used on the stairwell. You'll see this is in quite bad condition, especially the ceilings of the building. The wood around the doors obviously not painted for many years. The banisters on the balcony, very bad condition, very worn away, exposing wood. Metalwork, very worn and rusty, revealing rusty metal on all these areas, like the banisters on the stairwell haven't been painted for many years. A lot of rust on that fire escape. And you'll see the fire doors, the condition of the fire doors, very bad, lots of flaking paint there. Tenth floor. Very poor condition. I mean, look at that. Likewise, the ceiling very bad. This would be the underside of the walkway. Pretty much repeating what you've seen on the floor above. See how rusty the fire escape is. And again, see the very poor condition that wall is in. I won't go through every floor, but the pattern is repeated pretty much. Curiously enough, there seems to have been an attempt to paint this wall, these two bits of the wall. This was done late July, early August, at the same time the other bits of painting were done. But no attempt has been made to remove the loose paint. It's just been very crudely painted over, you'll see, and it's done with the same paint that's been used for the stairwell area that's been done. So that's a very curious thing to have done. Again, you'll see repeated the rust and the bad condition of the wooden railings and the bad condition of the ceiling. A similar story. Again, you'll notice the single brush mark. Using the same shade of paint that this wall is painted with, proving that it was made at the same time as these walls were painted, seemingly to designate that there was an intention to paint these walls as well, but of course, as you can see, this has not been carried through. And again, I'll show the condition of the fire doors. The fifth floor, also in very bad condition, and it's a shame that the person that chose to leave that mark of paint did not come back to finish the job. Or maybe they consider a single brush mark of paint to be a completed job, who can tell. The fourth floor, very bad condition, extremely poor condition, and that extends to the condition of the fire door. The third floor, awful condition again. When was the last time this was painted? Possibly over 20 years ago, in my estimation. And the pattern repeats. The last area we're going to look at is this outdoor mezzanine area, which has been very nicely planted. One of the residents spends a lot of time working on this, but the nice impression is somewhat spoiled by the fact that the surrounding paintwork has not been painted for many years. I do remember this was done, must be going on for about 15 years ago. So it's an unfortunate contrast with the areas that have been planted and give a nice impression. Again, woodwork in appalling condition, and you can get a look at all the outside areas that obviously haven't been painted for many years. Okay, so I think I've covered all the areas, so that will conclude my inspection for today. So this is the condition of 85 Mount Pleasant